Welcome back friends. Today we'll be learning about reflection of light. In the last video you learned about opaque, transparent and translucent objects. Today we'll be learning about eclipses and reflection of light. So let's start. Eclipses. Eclipses are a natural phenomenon caused due to sunlight and they are of two types: solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Eclipses do not occur each and every month because the equatorial orbit of the Earth makes an angle of 5 degrees to 7 degrees with the axial axis of the Moon. So friends, you must have observed at least one of these eclipses. So let's see. So eclipses are a natural phenomenon. So let's move forward. Solar eclipse. When the moon comes in between of the sun and the earth, it is called a solar eclipse. Solar eclipse happens when the moon comes in between of the sun and the earth in our solar system. When this occurs, the shadow of the moon falls upon the earth at this time. And the sun is not visible on the region where the shadow is fallen because the moon covers the whole sun. And you, at the time of the full solar eclipse, you can see the outer border of the sun, which is very harmful. This eclipse may be full or partial. Full solar eclipse happens on the day of the full moon. Lunar eclipse. When the earth comes in middle of the moon and the sun, it is known as lunar eclipse. You can see this as phenomenon at night, and as you know, in our solar system, when the earth comes in middle of the sun and the moon, and the moon will be not seen fully, but it will be seen partially. The shadow of the earth falls on the moon in this case, and the fallen region of the shadow on the moon, it will be not visible. So the visible part of the moon will be not affected by the shadow, and because of the sunlight we can see that part. This eclipse also may be full or partial like the blue solar eclipse. Full lunar eclipse occurs on a new moon day, yes. So here you can see the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. In the solar eclipse, you can see the moon is so close to earth that here is the shadow of the moon, here is the sun, these are the rays, and here you can see the shadow fallen on the earth, and the moon is blocking it. And as I told in the last video, in shadows, that happens here. And in the lunar eclipse, you can see that this part of the moon is covered by the shadow of the earth, by the sun rays, and you cannot see this part, but instead you can see this part and this whole other part. Reflection of light. The phenomenon of bouncing back of light rays in same medium or touching a smooth surface is known as reflection of light. Yes, for example, take any shiny surface, and when any light ray touches it, it bounces back. So that is known as the reflection of light. So let's see. The laws of reflection are the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Yes. Take for example shiny surface, and when the incident ray comes, the reflected ray is always normal. Yes, we'll see it later in the video. Angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. These laws apply to all kinds of reflecting surface, and silver is one of the best reflectors of light. This is why in the ancient times when kings ruled, mirrors were actually so costly, so only rich people could afford them. Now here you can see the smooth surface, and this is the point of incidence. Here is the incident ray and here is the reflection ray. Here is the angle of incidence, this angle and angle of reflection, and this is normal, and nothing happens here. So incident ray, reflection ray, and this is reflection of light. So incident ray is actually the ray which we leave, and the reflection ray is actually the ray which is reflected back of this smooth surface. And here when the normal is coming in at the smooth surface, it is the point of incidence. So and the angle of incidence and angle of reflection are always the same, they don't change. So if this incident ray comes little this side, so this reflection ray also will come from this side, because the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection is always the same. So friends, thanks for watching and keep learning. We'll discuss more about reflection in the upcoming videos. So stay home, stay safe.